Was us doing math?
Nope. I mean, we can like do it
well.
again if you want to, but it wouldn't be real this
No.
time. Yeah.
It will be disingenuous.
Yeah.
Oh, not to say that we haven't been disingenuous before.
Don't tell them that. Don't let them know. We're always
okay.
real all the time. We're never
They're
fake
not-
about anything.
They're not even watching right now. They don't even know.
It
They
sounds
don't
like
even know
both our
how
audios
much
do
I
that.
love them. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't know how much we care about them and want them to succeed.
And every time we're off stream, I'm going like, God, I wonder what our viewers are doing. I hope they're well.
I hope they're having a good day today.
Yeah.
Oh. Welcome back, everyone.
Indeed.
To Umineko
New thumbnail.
no Naku, Koro, ni Chiru. Yes.
I always be talking about my thumbnails. I like my thumbnails. What
They're
can I
good
say?
thumbnails. They're
Thank
good
you.
Thumbnails. I appreciate them. I was actually, funnily enough, you mentioned that today. I was actually looking through all of our Umineko videos just to see all the different thumbnails because I was like, it's kind of crazy that we've managed to have a unique one for pretty much every stream. But yeah, no, I like them a lot. Umineko is. I was gonna say clippable, but that's not really. It's like the clippable version of, like, it's screenshotable. It's got good
true.
pictures in it that you can use for
It's true.
thumbnails.
I had an old style. I'm not gonna get into the weeds too much more, but I was gonna see my biggest gripe with Umineko people that do Let's Plays is their thumbnails are usually the exact same thumbnail, but they only change the number in one of the corners. Which is fine. That's fine. That makes it easy to navigate, a series.
Yeah.
But to add some spice, at first I was going to just repeatedly have different backgrounds and different sprites, which we did for like the first 2 episodes. And then I was like, I really want to use these CGs. And then
Yeah,
I
the
was like,
CGs are good.
I can't stop using the CGs.
The CGs are good, and I'm glad you've been using them. I think it gives
Thanks.
character to the live stream thumbnails.
It really if no one's ever seen Umineko before, but they're subscribed to us and they look at that, they're going to be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what is going on with that thing they're doing?
Yep.
Anyway, we spent a long time talking about thumbnails, but you want to hit them with a recap?
Yeah. So last episode we got right into the beginning of episode 6, Dawn of the Golden Witch, and so much happened. We were introduced to a new witch, even more powerful witch than we've met before, Featherine, who is like the most grandma-ish of the witches so far. I said it last episode, I talked about it, but she's on the other side of the bell curve where she's not crazy like Lambda, Delta, and Vernkastel are, because she's so powerful that she's like, I just like reading stories. And watching things happen.
Yup.
And how did we meet her? Through my beloved, of course. Ange's back. Best girl of the entire game. IMO. Things could change. We're not done yet. But I do, as you all know, I like Ange quite a lot. She's back. Supposedly in a different timeline, but she's the same one from the timeline where she died, maybe? We're not sure. Ange's not sure. She's got something going on with her head. And she's got problems of her own mentally. But she has been enlisted by this new witch to be an observer. And together they're kind of deducing and figuring out what's really going on between Battler and Beatrice. And what's happening there while this game is running its course, episode 6. On the other side of it, we got Egg Beatrice now. We got Eggatrice. She's just like a little baby. She's back after dying straight up.
Yeah.
But now she doesn't know what's going on, and she just wants to make Battler happy. But she also considers Battler like her dad instead of the relationship they had before, and Battler isn't having it. He's like depressed and upset at the same time.
You're not right.
I'm not right.
No,
Oh,
I mean,
she's
like,
not right. She.
Yeah, Battler's hitting her with the, like, you aren't correct.
Yeah, precisely. And it sucks because she hasn't done anything wrong. And Battler kind of really hasn't done anything wrong either. And everyone's just kind of stuck in this new situation that's kind of mildly upsetting to be in.
Yeah.
And all the other witches were like, huh? When Beatrice introduced herself, because she was not Beatrice.
It was so funny because Valor hit her with the I told you to go to your room.
Yeah, Battler, for all the not wanting to be like her dad that Battler has been trying to do, the first thing he did that we saw with her was, go to your room, Beatrice. You you weren't supposed to be out here. And yeah, what was the very last thing we left off on?
Battler, all caps, said, yeah, I'm ready to start the 6th game.
Yes. Battler is, if you didn't watch the end of episode 5, Battler's the game master now too. So he's in charge of the game this time. And it's Bernkastel / Rat's job to figure everything out and defeat him and take back the territory from him. But also, we already learned, like at the very beginning of the episode, that he's gonna get himself stuck somehow. And I've already hypothesized how.
Yep.
Which is, I think he's gonna logic trap himself, because they already brought that up as a concept. And I was like, why are you bringing this up so early? Why are you talking about it?
They did the same thing. Why? They did the same thing they did in episode 5, where it opened partway through the episode. But this time it seemed much worse.
Yeah. Well, Battler was getting married. It was nice.
To ERIKA.
Anyways,
let's continue.
We'll get there when we get there. Yeah.
Let's see how we got there, really.
On Rokkenjima, this day, or rather, this round, was the same as any other. The typhoon would be coming very soon. The sky was still overcast, but the clouds were moving quickly. What? You don't want to give us the entire thing of all the family getting there all the way from the mainland of Japan, where they fly over and then get on the boat, and then the fall? You don't want to do all that again? The only thing on Natsuhi's mind was the plan to cover up Kinzo's absence again this year. Kraus appeared to have suffered a stomachache from the stress and was sleeping in his room. Hey! Kawabara! Jessica and Kumasawa had left in a boat to go shopping and greet the incoming relatives on Nijima. The servants had been busy since the early morning preparing for the family conference, the greatest event of the year. Shannon and Canon were rushing to get the guest house ready.
If the relatives are going to stay the night, shouldn't the guest rooms in the mansion be more than enough?
Good point. It's a pain to clean up this place too, after all. Even so, I like cleaning the guest house.
Make up your mind.
Yeah, it's nice and quiet without Madame and all the annoying servants.
Dang.
Yeah.
Shannon smiled wryly as she performed a detailed examination of the guest room.
I need a Shannon cheesing sprite.
Key out the smile on Jessica's face and put it on Shannon's
True.
face. That would be cursed.
I'm gonna see if I can do that.
Did we forget to clean anything? Do we need to restock anything? She diligently gave the room one final check over.
You checked everything thoroughly last night too, didn't you? You really are dedicated.
It's days like this that you tend to get pranked if you're careless. You can never find important things when you need them, and things that were supposed to be closed turn out to be open.
That's because you're too careless. You don't pay attention while you work.
I guess that's why you're helping me check. Thanks.
There's nothing to thank me for. If you were a bit more alert, I wouldn't have to help at all. So the trend has been whenever we start an episode, it's always all you, all me, pretty much. The trend seems to establish it's going to be all me. That's fine.
But you actually just want to be with me, right? You're such a kid.
That's not it at all. It's all because you've been so ecstatic about George-sama lately. You're messing up so much. I can't let you out of my sight.
Kanon-kun, let's chat a bit.
We can't do that now. We're working.
Man cannot multitask.
He's just like me for real, for real.
You keep making fun of me and George-sama. But how is it going between you and Jessica-sama?
Nothing's going on in particular. If you have time to talk about that, let's just finish this. What?
Canon had, very obviously, been trying to change the subject. Shannon had then snuck up behind him and pushed him down onto the bed. What are you doing, Shannon?
Why aren't you reading your lines? It keeps happening. I gotta get checked, man.
Yeah.
So, why did you turn down my lady when she asked you to go with her to welcome the relatives?
Because I have work to do.
Liar. You don't actually have any work at all.
Shannon and Canon had switched roles. Normally, Canon was the one in control, but when it came to romance, it was quite the opposite. As Shannon had said, Jessica and Canon were supposed to have been the ones to greet the relatives at the harbor on Nijima. However, Canon had suddenly claimed that he had work to do, so Kumasawa had gone instead. Canon didn't have any work to do. Shannon knew this.
My lady told me, despite what happened after the cultural festival, she really does like you, Canon-kun.
Even though I'm furniture.
Hey, some girls just like furniture.
Real. I've been there.
That's right. And I'm furniture too.
Hey, some boys just like furniture.
True. But despite that, you're in love with a human. Even though you can't do that.
You think so? Maybe we're furniture. Just because we take that for granted.
I don't have any special feelings for my lady Jessica. I only think of her as the daughter of the family we serve.
Really?
Really. What?
I think Shannon's just thinking it's crazy that we're 6 episodes in and they're still trying to do this bit.
You know, there is a chance that George-sama will propose to me tonight.
Shannon wore an incredibly peaceful smile on her face. But Canon could tell that there was no way she'd let him change the subject. Canon realized that she must have made him help out here in the guest house in order to talk to him about this, and he clicked his tongue softly.
You really think you can marry a human, even though you're furniture?
I think I can.
It won't work.
Why not?
That dream future that George-sama has imagined for you two is something you can never give him.
Well,
We aren't humans. We're furniture, inferior to them. George-sama only thinks that you're human.
well, that is true, but
I'm impressed that you've managed to keep him fooled this long. Do you really think you can keep tricking him like that forever? Even though you still haven't been able to tell him that you're furniture?
being furniture or being human has nothing to do with this. I believe that George-sama will accept everything about me.
And yet you don't have the courage to check and make sure.
The exact same thing could be said about you, Canon.
Nuh-uh.
You know what? I think I'll accept his proposal.
As Shannon looked up at the ceiling, she spoke of the imagined future that she and George would create. Though some anxiety over the future appeared on her face, so did the joy of knowing what it was like to live with love. As Canon watched this vivid dream he was being shown, he knew that none of his words would reach Shannon anymore. What? What?
I did it. I got the thing.
Oh no, he's been working on it this whole time.
I'm gonna have to redo it in a different browser though, because I did it in the wrong browser.
Dang.
I'll do it later. You can just do what you want. Once you've said you'll do something, you can be incredibly stubborn.
Yep. I want to live life my own way. I'd like to stop being afraid over whose furniture and who's a human.
Canon walked over to the window silently. He saw the rose garden filled with boring, gray flowers in bloom. He realized that Shannon was acting above her place, and he knew that her tale had no chance of a happy ending. However, he also knew that no words of his could change her mind now that she had made her decision.
In that case, it doesn't matter what I say. If I tell you to stop, you won't listen. If I tell you to do what you want, you'll do what you want. Why are you talking to me about this? It's not like you care what I have to say.
What I want to know is how you feel about my lady.
I have nothing to do with the two of you.
Do you really feel absolutely nothing for my lady?
No, I don't, as I keep telling you.
Liar.
What makes you think that's a lie?
I can tell. I'm your nason, aren't I?
You don't know. You can't know what I'm feeling.
Oh no, he's going emo.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I know everything about you, Canon-kun.
If you really do know, then why did you ask? Your head and your heart are completely filled by George-sama, aren't they? And it's the sincerity of yours that I love. That's why I'm rooting for you in the only way I can. Otherwise, even I wanted to love my lady.
Canon finally turned to face her, honestly and openly telling her how he really felt. Tell us how you really feel.
Mm-hmm.
That was what Shannon had wanted to hear. And after hearing that, she pressed Canon even further to reveal his true feelings.
You can't leave it at that. I won't let you.
Then what should I do? What do you want me to say?
Don't try to dodge by saying I wanted to love her. All you need to do is honestly tell me what you really feel.
Milady is too dazzling for me. The way she lives is dazzling like the sun. That's why I love her. I was so happy when Milady stretched out her hand and asked me to walk with her. No, I still am happy.
You love her, don't you?
Yes, I do. I love Milady.
Finally, Canon confessed his feelings in their entirety. In fact, by saying it aloud, he finally understood how he truly felt. As passionate tears welled up in his eyes, Canon finally accepted it. He couldn't stop the tears from dripping down his face.
Both of us are exactly the same, locked up on Rokkenjima and living without any hope at all. And yet Milady was able to light her own path and create her own fate. She was so dazzling that I envied her. I felt as though if I could be with her, I could find my true self instead of being the pitiful person I am now.
When you turned down Milady's confession, were you sad?
I was! I never realized that a lie you make to yourself could be so sad, so painful, so excruciating. And I couldn't forgive myself for hurting Milady with that lie. I believed that I didn't have what it takes to ever fall in love again.
But that wasn't true. Do you know what's needed to fall in love? It's something you can't get from anyone but yourself. Being furniture or not has nothing to do with it. If you decide for yourself that it won't work out, then it won't. You mustn't lead to such rigid conclusions. That's why I, overambitious furniture that I am, gave myself what's needed to fall in love. So you have it too, Kenon-kun.
You mean I have what it takes to fall in love?
Yes. If you won't give it to yourself, I'll give it to you.
Thank you. I feel as though I can finally see the sea.
Umi.
I'm certain of it. George-sama will propose to me tonight. When he does, I will accept. I intend to leave this island and start a new life in our new world.
If that's the path you've chosen, then I have no say in the matter.
I'll leave this island, and after that, I'll never return again. I'll have to say farewell to you, Kenon-kun.
Massive red flag.
What do you mean? You're right. We won't see each other again, will we?
Also, if both of you ended up marrying two first cousins, the likelihood of you seeing each other again would be very high. You would be in-laws.
If you do love Milady from the bottom of your heart, and if your feelings are at least as strong as my feelings for George-san, then you and I will have to settle whose feelings are really stronger.
Oh, it's a competition now?
Ne-san.
This way is best for both of us. Don't give up on your feelings for my sake.
Even though my selfishness might keep you from your happiness?
There can only be one.
I realize that same thing about myself. I know that my happiness will bring you pain.
We have no choice but to hurt each other. As she said this, Shannon turned her back to Canon. As Canon watched Shannon from behind, he was struck by her strength and the love she still felt for him despite everything.
Ne-san, living with you made me happy.
Me too. I wouldn't have lasted this long without you. And that's why I was able to meet George-san.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have realized how dazzling Milady is if it weren't for you.
I won't abandon the way I feel. I'll focus on that feeling alone, ignoring everything else, and I won't look away when I trample over your heart.
Me too. I won't use you as an excuse to hide the way I really feel.
Why did his name disappear when he said that part?
I don't know. I didn't see that.
Whether my love bears fruit, or yours does, we'll both support the victor.
Really? Yes. I promise. What do you think is the statute for me making those jokes?
Huh?
How long can I make jokes about the Victor when I played a character named Victor in D&D until it's like, okay, we get it? Has that statute already run out?
I mean, by now, I feel like, yeah.
Okay, I was
been
hoping to write
years.
it for like, I was hoping to write it for a little while, like 2025 maybe. but
Holy
okay.
moly. You...
And if I win, I will love my lady and treasure you.
Okay, I understand this is a very heartfelt moment for you two, but still, I just gotta chime in and say I don't think this is a mutually exclusive situation right now.
It is.
Thank you. But if I win, I'll forget you and this island and leave this place forever.
Yes. Whichever of us wins, that person will pursue their love with all they've got. Even if they know that love will be unrequited.
Yes. After all, by now,
We are not furniture. Big
Battler?
step for
Yeah,
episode 6.
Battler, what? Corny opening, Battler. You...
Also, I made the Shannon cheese.
Yeah.
I'm
got
gonna
an
send it to you
achievement.
on Discord.
Uh,
You got an achievement for the... Oh.
Welcome them to Rokkenjima. Something's
That's
different
cool.
this time.
Okay, I just sent you it on Discord. You can look now or later.
Oh,
I'm calling the file cheese.
my God, that's cursed.
Awful,
That's
isn't it?
so cursed. I hate it. That is awful. Put that in one of the
Oh.
thumbnails at some point. Put that.
I might hide it in a thumbnail. Also, I've named the file name Cheese
Yeah.
because it's Shannon cheese.
Man.
That's all. I might do that with other sprites later.
Oh my goodness.
I think it looks best on Shannon though, not gonna lie.
Put a Beatrice smile on Battler. Put a.
Ew. There's
All
a lot
right.
of fun you can have.
Well, what a fun little opening we had there. Battler has certainly started us off on a different foot than we have any other time.
Yeah.
So, seems like this is going to be a little bit more of a Shannon and Canon heavy episode once again. It's been a while.
Yeah. Ronald.
It's been a while. The boat carrying the relatives docked at the harbor. They left the boat one by one, making fun of Battler. Dang!
Yeah.
Even Battler's
Gonna
like,
fall.
nope, it happens in every timeline. I can't get rid of it. It's
Can an event.
Koro wasn't the only one to greet them. Canon was there too. It has been quite some time, everyone. Allow me to welcome you to Rokkenjima.
I hope that your long journey went smoothly. Welcome to Rokkenjima.
Ah, good, good. Oh, sorry. Ah, good, good.
Huh.
Goda complimented Canon in a whisper. Canon ignored this, looking just a little sour, and continued to greet the incoming relatives. You do not have seniority here, bub. You do.
This is your first time meeting Goda-san and Canon-kun, isn't it, Battler-kun?
No, I actually happened to run into both of them on the mainland 2 years ago in a small little bar. And no,
True.
Oh, it's my first time meeting Battler too.
Not true. Goda-san's a great chef. He's the only reason anyone would ever want to come to this island.
I am most honored. Battler-sama, I do hope that you look forward to your meals during your stay. I can't wait. I'm counting on you.
Long time no see, Canon-kun. You seem to be in high spirits today. That's great.
You think so?
Oh yes, your face is looking brighter today. And maybe it's your complexion, or maybe it's that your gaze looks a bit more gallant.
He must be a growing phase. That's how a boy becomes a man. You usually look as though you're about to pass out from anemia.
Dang.
You're a bit different today.
Backhanded compliment, Ava. Thanks. You've got some spunk.
I knew it.
A boy can change a lot in just 3 days. Hasn't he said that once already?
Yes, they made that reference, yep.
I think he was talking about George, though, last time he said it.
Yeah, no, he was talking about Battler. I
Was
think
he?
that might have been all the way back to episode 1.
Dang, I'm surprised I remember that.
Yeah, because they made the thing about like, oh, I haven't seen Battler in 6 years.
yeah, true.
He's changed
true.
a lot.
I guess this means even Canon-kun's getting a bit more manly.
We aren't making fun of you, okay?
Everyone's giving backhanded compliments out today.
We're all complimenting you.
Okay, Rosa, the fact that you have to say that makes it a little... like... Canon had sworn to start changing the way he lived bit by bit. However, he had only meant to change within himself, and hadn't expected that it would show on the outside. That's how change works, Canon. That's... He was a bit shocked to hear his expression had changed so much, that people had apparently noticed as soon as he opened his mouth. No. Maybe the real surprise was that his normal expression must have looked so incredibly sullen in comparison. What do you mean I always look sad?
Yeah.
Goda led the way up to the guest house. Canon brought up the rear, helping to carry some of Kumasawa's shopping.
Does my face really look that bright today?
He's really hung up on it.
Oh, it looks that way to me as well. Did something good happen?
Even Kumasawa was saying it. Canon, unable to see what his own face looked like, hung his head in embarrassment. My eyes. When they reached the rose garden, they could see the others streaming into the guest house. Then, he saw Jessica running towards him from there.
Why aren't you reading my line? Is even Milady Jessica going to say that I'm in a good mood today?
Canon hung his head even deeper. And so, almost as though he couldn't control himself, Canon spoke first.
Do I really look that different?
Dang! There it is.
That was fast.
Well, you know, you aren't usually the type to come out and say hello of your own accord. That's probably why everyone was surprised.
I apologize for not going with you earlier, milady.
Huh? Oh, don't worry about that. I'm the one who's sorry for asking you to come all the way out to Nijima with me to meet everyone. I know how busy you must be today.
I didn't have anything in particular to do. You were just so dazzling. So dazzling that I couldn't bear to be with you. I was just weak.
She's gonna pass out. She's gonna have an asthma attack. She's gonna... Yeah. Jessica faltered, uncertain what Canon was talking about. However, she realized that this was something too important to be laughed off.
Did something happen, Canon-kun?
Shannon says she's going to get married.
I see. So George Nissan is probably going to propose this time after all.
Jessica thought Canon was sad because Shannon would be leaving, and this new mental state had caused the change in his behavior. And Canon realized that Jessica was probably thinking this. So, he spoke to her clearly and honestly, because he wanted her to know.
I decided that I would stop working here if Nason ever quit.
I know. So, are you gonna quit too, Canon-kun?
And I'm not sure anymore. I feel that if I quit, I might lose sight again of something you revealed to me, shining like the sun.
Why did Kenon decide to become a little poet? Well, Jessica could only stare blankly, unable to understand what he was saying. In English, Four Eyes. However, she did realize that he was trying to tell her something important. And so, she was able to accept that his next words were neither a lie nor a joke.
Wow.
It's as
It was-
shrimple as that.
It was one thing for him to be saying it to Shannon, but wow, okay.
It's as shrimple as that.
Krillians must live. Milady Jessica, I love you.
This is what happens when you have Battler at the helm. He just forces
Apparently.
you. He just forces you to get to have your feelings out.
He's like, you're all gonna be happy and you're gonna like it.
yeah.
I love you too!
You live your life like the sun, and I want to try walking that path alongside you. I have a feeling that with you, I'll be able to break free from the me that I despised as furniture.
You aren't furniture, Kenon-kun. And you were born just so you could become a servant. A boy your age should be enjoying life much, much more. I'm dazzled too. You're so dazzling. I can hardly see.
This is how I truly feel. I'm sorry for trying to hide it for so long. I apologize for hurting you on that day and my cowardice.
That's okay. Just hearing you say that makes me happy.
So, since I want to always be with you, I plan to stop being furniture. I ask that you give me some time to do that. Please forgive this last bit of weakness.
There's nothing weak about you. You've shown me. You've shown me that you have the incredible courage to change yourself from the way you used to be. So, I'll support you until the end, and I won't rush you until you're ready. If I'm the sun lighting your path, that's because I wanted to shine more brightly than anyone else, so that you'd look only at me. Without you, there's no way I'd become anything like a sun. So, I'll wait, no matter how long it takes.
New background or something? Thank you, milady.
Milady is a bit stiff, don't you think?
May I call you by your name?
Sure.
We haven't seen that sprite in a while.
Yeah, I do gotta say, in my search to make the she's, I looked through all the Jessica sprites and noticed that that one was all the way by itself at the bottom.
Dang.
Oh, but only when we're alone, okay? Otherwise, it might make things tough for you.
Good point. Also, Canon smiling is a rare sprite too. Nason and George-san are doing the same, it seems.
If Shannon hadn't been about to get engaged, you wouldn't have said what you said just now, right?
Kenon hung his head, at a loss for words for some time. But it was true. If Shannon hadn't told him about the engagement, he probably wouldn't be having this conversation at this moment.
Yes. Because of that, I was able to think long and hard.
Come on. You heard about Shannon and you wanted to see what love felt like yourself, right?
Yes.
That's a pretty straight answer. Well, when I watched those two, I was pretty jealous myself.
In truth, it wasn't quite like that for either of them. They'd been shown the courage needed to speak up and tell the one you love how you feel. That's what pushed both Canon and Jessica forward.
So, what should I call you?
Babe. No.
True.
Jessica works fine.
Just saying it like that would be a bit embarrassing.
Then you can use San, at least at first. Why not try it out? Come on.
Jessica-san.
Good. That'll do for now. And I'd like to call you by your name, Canon-kun. You have a real name, besides Canon, don't you? I'll bet it has the character,
Whatever that is.
in it, like Canon does. What could it be?
Also, they've made their way to the gazebo of love.
True.
Also, Canon name drop.
Yeah, I was gonna ask earlier, were we gonna get Canon's real name because of this, but here we are.
A lot's happening, man. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
everything's going so fast. Everything.
My name is Yoshia.
Oh, how is it written?
Jessica tried tracing out various characters on the palm of her hand. Then, Canon used his own finger to write out his name on her hand.
Oh, you write it as... It did have that symbol.
True.
So you're Yoshia-kun. Yeah, that's a great name. Totally better than my weird name.
Her immediately regretting her decision because his name is weird. That's not true. Lady Jessica has a wonderful name.
Hey, say it again.
Huh? Lady Jessica has...
One more time.
Lady Jessica has a wonderful... is something wrong?
No big deal. Thanks. Yoshia.
He didn't do it right. Supposed to say Jessica-san, dummy.
I think she just liked hearing him say it. I think...
It could be that too. Either way is funny.
The red flowers of the rose garden seemed to celebrate the two lovers whose feelings had finally connected. And now they get ripped apart. The scene was watched by not one human.
Yeah.
Both statements are true, though. Who gazed out quietly from beneath the rose garden arbor. Beatrice?
Be a chick?
Which one are you? Which? Come to think of it, those two had never called each other by their names until now. Jessica hadn't known Canon's true name. Yeah, she and me both. Canon hadn't called Jessica by her name. When people call each other by name, they acknowledge the worth of the other's soul. That's why names are sacred. When you've been given permission to say someone's name, it means they've acknowledged your soul.
Is that why Father wants me to call him by his name?
No. That's probably wrong.
When Father sees me, it reminds him of that other me, the past me. And I'm sure that me called Father by name.
Okay, she's farther along in understanding the situation than I thought she was. She...
However, that probably doesn't mean Father would be happy to hear me call him by his name. After all, I am me, and not the Beatrice Father knows well. What can I do to help Father? How can I be useful to him? After all, that's the only reason I was born.
Hanging her head, Beatrice sat all alone in the Golden Lands arbor next to the rose garden. And she was watched by the Witch of Theater-going and her miko as they sat across from each other.
Poor kid.
Oh, good golly, let's see if I remember the voice for you. I never thought I'd see you feel compassion for Beato.
It'd be too cruel to call this Beato and the former Beato the same person. They're completely different people.
It may be that, by the rules, this Beato is the Beato. However, saying that would be horribly unfair to her.
Battler must be very depressed to have things end up this way after reviving his former rival.
I sort of get Oni-chan's despair, but I can understand how this kid feels too. No person can become a replacement for another. Not even a past version of that same person.
Compared to the young boy and girl who had found new versions of themselves by calling each other their true names, this witch looked very feeble. The witch knew that she was an illusion created in the image of the person she once was, and she also knew that it would only hurt Battler if she were to try and pretend to be that person.
And despite all of that, this Beato wants to be useful to Battler. How admirable.
Is that the purpose for the witch known as Beatrice?
That is what she claims. She says that she was created to be of service to Battler.
So, a Beato who was born for Oni-chan's sake eventually commits a serial murder, and drags Oni-chan into a bizarre game that she calls eternal torture. I don't get it.
I believe you also understand that one can become a different person over 1,000 years.
At the very least, Beatrice was once a pure creature who was born for Battler's sake. It was also very clear that, in her current feeble state, she doesn't possess any of the courage or motivation needed to bring about such fearsome serial murders. That means the sinister witch we all know must have changed during the 1,000 years since her birth. What?
We keep getting this 1,000 years business, but I get the feeling that those words are just a metaphor for a really long time in the world of witches.
As you get closer to the world of gods, the concept of time becomes increasingly vague. 6 years can become 1,000, and 1,000 years can be nothing more than a quick nap. One can fit an eternity long enough to be deserving of the title 100-year-old witch in a mere 2 weeks.
In other words, the pure Beato transformed into the cruel Beato during 6 years that could be called 1,000. So does that mean something bad happened during those 6 years that made her hate Oni-chan? I don't think she hates him, necessarily.
That doesn't make sense. During those 6 years, Oni-chan not only stayed away from Rokkenjima, but he even stopped using the Ushiromiya name.
Ange, you might want to reconsider why she perhaps might have been upset with him then. Perhaps it's because he stopped coming to Rokkenjima and changed the Ushiromiya name.
He had nothing to do with that change. Her hatred has got to be totally misguided.
And also, again, I don't think she necessarily hates him.
Oh, so this is where you were. Shall I make you some black tea?
Kumasawa-san, there's something I'd like to know.
Ho ho ho. Very well, what is it? My name is Beatrice, isn't it?
Yes, that is correct. You are Beatrice Summer, my lady.
However, the Beatrice that Father talks about isn't me.
Well,
I think Father wanted me to be that person. I think that might be why he was disappointed, because no matter how much I looked like her, I am a different person.
that isn't true. You are you, Beatrice Summer herself. You have merely lost your memory of the past after being newly reborn. Even without your memory, you are still Beatrice Summer. You are the same person whom the Master loves.
So then, how can I regain those memories?
Well,
Beato looked at Kumasawa with hopeful eyes, as though praying that she would tell her the way. Kumasawa averted her gaze unhelpfully, as though trying to say that she'd like to, if only such a way existed.
If I can't regain those memories, can't you at least tell me what kind of person the Beatrice Father loved was?
that much I can tell you, but...
I was born for Father's sake, so I want to become the Golden Witch Beatrice that Father desires.
Beatrice Summer.
I cannot use magic. However, if the Witch Father desires could use it, then I will learn. I want to become the witch he desires. That's the only way I can repay Father for creating me.
That's admirable. Without the 1,000 years gone wrong, she really is an incredible kid.
A chick of a witch. Very interesting. I've taken a liking to her, Ange. I shall allow this chick to make use of my library.
Just like that, huh?
Let us open the door that leads back to the world of witches.
Featherine is interfering in the game. Already.
So, you're going to make her read aloud the stories about her previous self? Yes, I want to know too. The creation story of the Golden Witch, Beatrice.
Very well. If you wish it, then let us open the door once more.
She's no longer Kumasawa. The name was taken away.
Kumasawa. Son.
A golden splash welled up around them. Is she going to become Virgilia? It was a cloud of gold butterflies. It'll just be like the good old days. Virgilia's gonna be teacher again. With a flash of gold, the form of the old lady transformed into that of a witch in a dress.
You must choose the path that you are to walk down. Let us call it a path of roses. The beautifully blooming roses may encourage you, and their thorns may torment you. But even so, it is a path that you've walked down before. You may pass through the same 1,000 years. You may pass through a different 1,000 years. If you wish, you may even return back the way you came.
I'll move on forward. I don't want to spend 1,000 years in this garden drinking tea. Beatrice was born for Father's sake. So I want to live for Father's sake. Please tell me, About the Golden Witch.
No.
I have decided I no longer want to.
The Great Witch spread her arms, communicating the other's unbending determination to the brilliant heavens. At that moment, a brilliant light covered the two of them, and before they knew it, they were in a strange study. Hi. There sat the master of this library, the great old witch, and her miko. Virgilia gave a deep and elegant bow.
It is the greatest of honors to be in your presence, Lady Featherine Augustus Aurora, the majestic witch of theater-going, drama, and spectating.
Raise your head, child of man. I shall give that child the privilege of using my library however she likes, for a time. Ange, my miko, you will
Yeah?
Okay, yep.
You.
you will see to her needs.
Sure, as you wish, my master. You know, you could just say, let me read your story. Miko of the Witch of Theater going. I leave Beatrice in your care.
You know, I don't remember if we said it before. I know we probably said it as an aside, but I didn't expect this term to be so repeated. For those of you at home, Miko means shrine maiden
Yeah.
in Japanese.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with those. You can look those up, but essentially they're like an attendant
Yeah.
for a shrine, typically. Anyway.
Pleased to meet you.
It's your aunt.
The Beatrice you're trying to become was suffering from something, in her own way. At the very least, you've been released from that for the time being. Will you really go on a journey to regain those shackles?
Yes, I want to become the Golden Witch. That is the reason I was born.
I, the endless and finite witch, Publius Virgilia Maro, ask that you make her journey through purgatory a pleasant one, granting her your protection. Huh? Oh, let it be known that as the Miko of the Witch of Theater going, and as the Endless Witch and Apprentice Witch of Resurrection,
Ange's really picking up all the titles, isn't she?
I, Ange Beatrice, do humbly exceed your request, or whatever.
Featherine snorted.
Me too, Featherine.
So, you also bear the name of Beatrice?
Yes, I killed you one time. No, okay. That's right. I know a lot about you.
Please teach me. What kind of person was I?
Sure. And I'll want you to teach me. Why did you become the person you were?
Cute.
In this library, the fragments showing the tales of all your games up until now are stored as books.
Is this gonna be the earning the sister's approval arc?
By reading them, you should be able to learn everything that has happened before now. By reading them, can I become a Golden Witch? To become a Golden Witch, one must solve the epitaph of the gold. And this trial cannot be skipped, not even by Beatrice herself.
Oh, it's Beatrice's turn to solve the epitaph now.
True.
Everyone gets a turn.
I'll do my best, So please, let me read the books in this library.
As admirable as ever. Why are you so set on ending up like that again?
I do not know what I was like then. However, if that me can be of use to Father, I want to become it.
Ange sighed resignedly. No words would stop this girl's feelings of respect. Ange was the miko of the Witch of Theater Going. She could do nothing but watch over the stage. That's right. They weren't actually interfering with the play. This was just a bit of directing, to shine the spotlight onto the tale of Beato's past. Oh, okay, if that's what you want to call it. Even this was nothing more than the Witch of Theater Going, watching a play.
Beato's in front being like, line.
Yeah, true.
If you read, you will learn what kind of a person the old Beatrice was. However, you must decide what you will take from that experience. You are free to stay in this library, or leave it, or even return to it again later. In exchange, I will watch your play. You'll watch my play?
Basically, it means you can do whatever you want.
Thank you very much.
She likes it when you call her Featherine.
What?
You're cracking me up.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Featherine-sama.
It killed me.
After being welcomed in by Featherine, Beato left on a journey to discover herself.
Oh, good. Okay, so things are looking relatively promising. You know, Beatrice is kind of inspired. Obviously, Canon and Jessica are looking good. Okay. And Shannon and George.
Let's just wait to see how it all goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
That tale connected the old tale with the new one. It wove them together. The 1,000-year-old tale about her returned to its starting point, becoming a snake eating its own tail.
Oh my gosh, Cerberus. Oh. Yeah, you're right.
No, that's the dog. The ring of that snake began slowly, bit by bit, to turn into the shape of a small island floating on the sea. And that was Rokkenjima. The 1,000 years of the witch born on this island were tied to the island. Was it 1,000 years? Or just 6? Or did this tale start even further back into the past? Beatrice went out on a journey to find herself.
Oh. Oh. Water.
The wind had been strengthening since a while back. The breaking waves had grown fierce. The ferry boats probably wouldn't be coming for a while now. The crashing thunder told that the island had been sealed off from the outside world. A thick rain poured down, mocking the fools outdoors who had rushed pathetically to find shelter. No longer would anyone be able to leave this island, and no longer would anyone be able to reach this island. No one. Unless blessed with a miracle. I wonder who's gonna show up. There was another flash of lightning. The retinas of all who saw it were filled with white. Rat time. As that white faded away, an eerie shadow pulled itself up amidst the raging waters of the beach. Now that we know her character, it's much more menacing.
It's so much worse, right?
As though suddenly remembering to do so, It coughed violently several times, filthily spitting out the seawater that had filled its stomach. She then tore apart the touch fastener of her life jacket and threw down the reason she had been able to float here without so much as a thank you. Dang.
Welcomed in by a storm, same as always. Very good, though. Yes, come and entertain me, Battler-san.
I wanted in big white text to appear, ERIKA has arrived. Okay, I'm gonna pee real quick. That was the chapter called True Feelings, by the way. We are now moving into the chapter, The Annoying Guest.
Dang!
BRB.
Dang! Ain't no way! That... Oh, well. She's back, everyone. Did you miss her? Oh, man. Well, yeah, like Pertuset said, this has been a pretty interesting opening. We haven't had so many nice things happening back to back over and over again. Beatrice is getting help from witches outside of the group we already know. We've got Canon and Shannon recognizing their feelings and getting to be a little lovey-dovey with their respective counterparts, all before it all starts to change again. We'll have to see how it goes, obviously, but I'm curious as to how Battler's going to handle the murders this time, because we all know how he is. We know how Battler is. We'll see if he actually battens down and does say, yes, I'm gonna kill people, or if perhaps he finds a different way to interpret the epitaph. Who knows? Who knows? But regardless, we're finally back into it. We've skipped over everything, thank goodness. Didn't have to have any build-up this time like we have the past 5 episodes, although 3 and 4 went kind of quick as well. 1 and 2 had a lot of build-up. 5 had a good bit of build-up with all of the Kraus Nazi stuff, but now we're just straight back into the thick of it with this one. So
KSI.
Dang.
Yeah, sorry.
News of the Drifter, Furudo ERIKA, quickly spread across Rokkenjima. Oh, she's here. She's here. Give me. It won't let me do it until the text stops moving. Furudo ERIKA fell from the pleasure boat Eternal Maid 2. Made cruise in the waters near Rokkenjima. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Everything's the same. She's back.
Looks good. Kinzo, we already looked at that, right? Kinzo's already immediately listed as missing. Not dead, though.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Interestingly.
There he goes.
Okay.
ERIKA had been welcomed in politely, and it was decided that she would be treated as a guest until the typhoon passed. So everything that happened last time. In the dining hall, Goda's wonderful dinner had ended, and everyone was relaxing, enjoying some after-dinner coffee and cheese. Again, doesn't seem like a good combo. Apparently, Battler was a bit relieved that ERIKA had come and turned into a good scapegoat. It drove away some of the attention he'd been getting piled on him for finally coming back after 6 years.
It is also, what was I going to say? It seems, if that little thing at the beginning, or the end of the last chapter is ERIKA, like that was real and everything, she fully is aware of herself,
she is retained.
even as a
She
piece,
has retained her memories, yep.
Despite being on the game board.
Mm-hmm. Which, you know,
I
it seems a
think
little
is a
unfair
first.
to me, but...
True. But she was already weird in the last one too, though, because she was like, "It's not red, it's not red."
Yeah,
but she
it's
said
not
that
red.
in real life.
I have the detective's power. You can't do it. Nuh-uh.
Okay.
In fact, she turned out to be very talkative. That's different from last time. She wasn't as talkative in the beginning. When the conversation turned to a sophisticated discussion of the mystery genre, even the adults were drawn in. She was apparently so well versed that even Nanjo, who had a vast knowledge of the subject, was impressed. Are we gonna get a repeat of what happened last time where Battler snubs her on like 1 point and she's
It'd
gonna be
really
like
funny.
Good point. A strange family in a western mansion on an isolated island during a storm? Now that we have a detective stopping by to take shelter from the rain, we've got all the major factors lined up. Shut your mouth. You.
Have no fear. No matter how difficult the crime, I will solve it. That's a detective's job.
How reassuring. It almost sounds as though you want a bizarre crime to occur. I hope I don't have to play the part of the victim.
Dear, you mustn't say such things.
Dang.
Well, the history of the human mystery genre is only about a century old. Its tricks and ideas are limited to a few recycled patterns, so there's nothing left to show. No matter what kind of impossible crimes or closed-room murders might occur, it'll be nothing more than one of the same classes of tricks dressed up to look like something new. The only reason mysteries still make for popular books today is because self-proclaimed fans, those who work off pieced-together knowledge and who have hardly read any of the classics, mistakenly think that a classic trick they didn't know about, though through lack of proper study, is actually something new and surprising.
Calling them out today, huh?
Yeah. Everyone couldn't help but gape at this imposing claim. If an aged critic had said it, that would have been one thing. But to think that a young person like this could say it so boldly. It's 1986, they don't have internet. She probably spends, like, literally her entire 5-minute existence before this consuming all knowledge of mysteries ever. Yeah.
Mystery's a genre, ended a half-century ago, at least as far as I'm concerned. However, thanks to countless ignorant fools, I get to play my part as a detective.
By that argument, wouldn't it mean that romance was perfected back in Shakespeare's time, so everything after that isn't worth reading? Oh no, he's gonna do it again.
Exactly. So, if you just read Romeo and Juliet, it's the same as having understood all of romance.
Read, I understand now is current tense.
That's ridiculous. It's not like there's any need to read more books than everyone else just for its own sake. But on the other hand, you can't be so satisfied with just a few stories like that. Sticking to classics of the past and never reading anything new is a sign of excessive nostalgia, don't you think? That sounds to me like the excuse of an old person who can't be bothered to read anymore. Uh-oh.
I see. I guess I'll need to read at least as much as you, or else I'd probably lose in an argument.
Me? I don't read books. Oh, she's mad. She's mad. Uh-oh. She's... Battler chuckled, but ERIKA knew from the previous game that Battler was actually quite an avid reader. Oh, it's even worse. It's not that she's mad that he's not a reader, it's that he's lying. So, his words felt more like a challenge.
If you're so confident in your reasoning abilities, you must be really good at quizzes and puzzles, right?
Oh, right. Maria, didn't you bring a quiz book or something?
This is...
Got it!
This is like, what's that meme of the Russian? It was like the talk show where there was it was like, I heard you're pretty good at chess.
Brings
so
out
we brought out a grandmaster.
Yeah. Here's
That's what's
Grandpa's
happening right
epitaph that he... Realizing that ERIKA's arrogant statement had made the atmosphere a little more tense, George smoothly changed the subject. And
All right, Maria, let your... Yeah, hand your kid book over to ERIKA.
Yep. By now, it was more than clear that she wasn't the cute guest she had appeared to be. Maria pulled a book out of her bag that had quizzes and puzzles written on it and started reading them to everyone. It looked like it might turn into a peaceful quiz party. You don't... ERIKA's here. It's not. It's...
It might.
But of course, that isn't what happened. As a credit to all her big talk, ERIKA managed an impressive ratio of correct and immediate answers. She took complete control. and her bragging began to escalate more and more. George slightly regretted the choice he'd made when changing the subject. Once again, I must reiterate, loses once. Spends the rest of her existence seething and trying to prove she's better.
106 matches. No team to even write a tournament chart for it.
The question, how many matches would you need for a tournament with 107 teams, was answered instantly by ERIKA.
This is less of a puzzle than it is a test of knowledge. There's a formula which shows that the number of matches is always the number of teams minus 1. Well, if you just look at the examples showing 3 matches for 4 teams and 7 matches for 8 teams, it should be easy to figure out the pattern.
Oh! ERIKA, that's awesome!
Eriko Onechan, right? Say it.
Oh, ERIKA Oni-chan, that's awesome!
Really impressive. So you don't call yourself a detective for nothing.
I couldn't very well act the part of the detective if I was incapable of handling puzzles of this sort.
Incredible. I'm sure you'll be able to become a real detective in the future.
George.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Watch where you step, George. There's
Remember last
landmines
time?
everywhere.
Last time it was Jessica that slided her.
Yup.
Well, I'm pretty sure I already am one.
The cousins all thought about the answers to the questions, but ERIKA always answered first. Rosa thought it was a bit rude for ERIKA to say the answers out loud while people were still thinking, instead of keeping them to herself. But since ERIKA was a guest, she decided against mentioning it. In truth, ERIKA was perfectly aware of this when she answered the questions instantly. She likes it. Each time, she would grin broadly, as though saying, "You all still haven't solved such an easy problem?"
A great detective like you shouldn't really need to take these too seriously, right?
Good point. Even though these are just childish questions, I was getting a bit too serious. I'll take more care, so let's have the next question, please.
Alright, I won't lose this time. Maria, next question. Sorry, that just made me laugh. Darn my fast-reading eyes that read before my mouth can get it out.
You have one large piece of cheese. A single slice with a knife can split it into 2 parts. So, what is the lowest number of slices you can make to cut it into 8 parts? Oh!
I'm looking at the music. Wow, weird George sprite. I'm looking at the music list for this moment right now. And it says the song name is Scar Sound, in parentheses, The Riddle About Cheese.
It's not 6,
Anyway.
is it?
I'm not even gonna try, man. I can't see the words anymore, so it's out of my head.
I think it's 6.
Oh,
Wait, no,
I
3.
know.
I'm gonna say 0. Oh, I know this one, so I guess I'll stay quiet this time.
I think it's 3. Yeah. George, acting like the adult he was, set up a mood that would prevent people from answering right away even if they knew the answer, in effect sending a warning to ERIKA. It seemed that ERIKA understood, and she averted her gaze, snorting derisively.
To make 8 pieces, 4 slices would be enough, right?
That's dumb.
Damn.
It would hardly be a puzzle if that was the answer.
That's right. These are usually set up so a smaller number than you'd expect is the answer. But still, how exactly could it be done?
Oh, got it. You can only do this because it's cheese.
What? What?
True. If you tried to do it with a birthday cake, there'd be a huge fight.
That's right. You might be able to do this with cheese, but you'd never cut a cake like this. Huh? Huh? All of you know the answer? Damn it, am I the only one who doesn't?
Oh, I've got it! Yeah, you gotta think three-dimensionally.
Wait, even Jessica? I don't get it. What should I do?
I know the answer. It's written right here.
Dang.
You didn't know the answer until you looked, right? Get it, Battler-kun?
I see. I understand it as well. This is something you can do because it's cheese.
This is like a metaphor for the entire story.
I don't know if you get it, Levi. It's something you can do because it's cheese.
The entire story is them saying, it's the way it is because of the way it is. And then
Yeah.
you're expected to understand what that means.
It insists upon itself in a good way.
In a good way, true. It is good. But, yeah. Even Dr. Nanjo gets it? I would expect Dr. Nanjo to get it before, like, Jessica. Could it be? Am I the only one who doesn't get it?
I'm sure even your brain could be as flexible as cheese if we cooked it a little, Battler-san.
It isn't something like, use 0 slices with the knife to break it apart with your hands, right?
That was my theory.
Of course not. It's impossible to cut this cheese with anything other than a knife.
Think of the cheese in 3 dimensions. If that's hard, it might help to draw a picture on a paper napkin.
So, we have 1 large piece of cheese, right? Then we use a knife to make 8 pieces. Can the knife only cut in a straight line?
Yes, that's right. The knife only cuts in straight lines. Oh, but here's a hint. You can only cut in a straight line, but you're free to cut it wherever you want. Try thinking of a bunch of ways to stick it in.
You should probably try to think out of the box a bit. What is going on right now? What? Show us what you've got, Battler-kun. Battler made this too. What is happening? You have a
He didn't
large
know it
piece
either.
of cheese. The game master Battler didn't know it. So he's like, what if I just have all the pieces explain it? What if... How many times must you cut it with a knife to make 8 pieces? Honestly, even I'm kind of lost right now. You could obviously do it in 4 cuts. Could it be done in even fewer cuts than that? Our hints so far pointed to being possible specifically because it's cheese. What's different about cheese? What? If it was a birthday cake, you wouldn't be allowed to do this. I'm assuming it means like you're cutting it in an uneven way because with a birthday cake you want to distribute it evenly. But cheese. Cheese. Something you can do because it's cheese. Oh. Oh! I've got it! I've got it! I was totally tricked! This isn't something you could think up if your mind's all stiff and rigid.
Seems like you finally hit on it. Hopefully it actually is the right answer.
It's impossible to cut the cheese with anything except the knife, right? The knife can only cut in a straight line, right? There aren't any other rules, right? Right?
Oh, not really.
Alright, then that's gotta be it. Whew, that was a tough one. Almost like a riddle.
You just gotta get beyond cutting straight down from the top all the time. You make 2 cuts from the top to get 4 pieces. If you keep it like that and cut across the sides, splitting upper and lower halves, you get 4 times 2 equals 8 pieces.
It's an answer you can't reach unless you think 3-dimensionally. In other words, the correct answer is 3.
Okay, so I was just massively overthinking once they started saying other things and was right from the very beginning. Battler. Oh wait, is he gonna like make it even? Is he gonna make it even less cuts, and then it's gonna be like what? Or is he just gonna be stupid? Huh? Really?
I thought it was 8.
I thought the correct answer was 1. What kind of magic did you use? There's no way in the world you could manage it with 1.
This isn't a riddle, it's just a normal math problem.
Huh? Oh, really? I thought of the 3-cut method right away. But I figured that was too easy, so I guess I tried to twist it too far.
Battler's answer is smaller than the one in the book. Is Battler right?
Yes, he is. Battler-san is right. The correct answer is 1 slice.
Battler was happy that someone had confirmed his answer. However, at some point, Erika's face had lost its cheeriness.
To think that a human other than myself would give the answer 1, and that it'd be you of all people.
He goes so far into stupid that he loops back around to being the smartest person in the room, Erika. Your answer was 1 too, Erika? I guess
No, it was 1.
I guess you were. She would. He would say that, and she'd be like, "No." It's. Oh. No one will eat the bottom part of the cake. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I guess you were also thinking out of the box.
After all, it would be truly foolish to simply assume you knew what shape it was after hearing that it was a piece of cheese.
What if the cake was created in such a way that it was an even, like it wasn't a layered cake or anything, it's just a single type of cake all the way
What
through?
if it was an ice cream cake?
What if it was an ice cream cake? I'd still eat it if just the bottom half was there. I'd still eat it. I think the Romeos aren't thinking out of the box.
They didn't make ice cream cake yet.
They didn't. They hadn't made ice cream cake yet.
No, it came out in 1987.
Yeah.
That's impossible. Oni-chan got it wrong, didn't he? How could you cut into 8 pieces with less than 3 slices?
How foolish, child of man. It says to cut it into 8 pieces, but nowhere does it say that they have to be of equal size.
See, that's what I was starting to think when they were getting like really into the you don't get it, and I was like, well, but I didn't figure out anything specifically. I still don't know how it could be done in 1.
It's still impossible. Do you cut it with something other than a knife?
You can't.
The rules say that only the knife can cut it, and that the knife can only cut in a straight line. However, to turn it around, the rules do not say anything besides that.
What is the definition of a straight line?
In fact, the shape of the cheese is never specified.
True. Even I wasn't thinking that far outside the box. I see. When you all heard a large piece of cheese, you thought of a flat cylinder, like camembert or something.
I'm looking it up.
I was honestly thinking of the stereotypical cheese wedge that like you would give a cartoon mouse.
Really? No, I was thinking of a cheese wheel.
I was thinking of a wedge the whole time. I was thinking about sliced cheese, like the kind you might put on your toast for breakfast. Because, you know, full blocks of cheese you'd cut with a knife aren't something I come across that often. But you have to be thinking of a weird cheese. A squiggly cheese.
The shape of the cheese isn't specified in the rules. A mistake by the ones who made the book. I imagine that there's a picture of a flat cylinder of cheese there in Maria-san's book.
Oh, there is! Right here!
As ERIKA had guessed, the book Maria held had an illustration of a piece of cheese, just as ERIKA had described it. Cheese CG, please? With cheese of its shape, 3 slices would be the correct answer. You cut it in a plus pattern from the top to make 4 pieces, and then cut it from the side to double that and make 8 pieces. However, since this illustration hadn't been shown, the interpretation of the cheese had to be left to the answerer.
That's right. At the moment the problem was stated, no one said anything about how the cheese was shaped or how flexible it was.
Exactly. It seems that Battler-san was the more flexible one when it comes to both brains and cheese.
Dang.
I don't get it. How does making it sliced cheese let you cut it into 8 parts with a single knife slice?
You fold the cheese.
Yep.
Why not try it with that paper napkin? Pretend it's sliced cheese.
It's like this. You fold it accordion style. How many times do you need to fold it to make egg sections?
6 times.
To fold it accordion style, you alternate between upward and downward folds. Once you've done this 6 times, it looks like the side of an accordion. With normal cheese, it'd break if you tried to fold it like this. But the rules say that this cheese can't break unless you use a knife, right?
Yes, no problems there. After all, this is magic cheese that can only be cut by a knife.
Thanks, game, for the the little sound effect. After folding it, if you start at the top and make a cut right down the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
You're right. It would make 8 parts.
But wait a second. The parts aren't all equal this way, right?
All the questioner said was to cut it into 8 pieces. They didn't say anything about them being equal. Well, if you change the way you fold it, it is possible to make them all equal sizes, but I wouldn't want to confuse you stiff-headed people with the explanation.
Oh. Oh. For a while. Why specifically Nanjo?
He's the only one that made an audible noise to that.
Yes.
Everyone else is just, oh.
For a while, everyone was stunned. Battler had reached a far better answer than 3 by thinking of the problem as a riddle. ERIKA had already known both answers and had even spotted a mistake by the book. The others could do nothing but stare at those two in surprise.
Incredible. So we were the stiff-headed ones?
Mm-hmm.
What an utter defeat.
We were thinking in 3 dimensions, but it looks like Battler-kun and ERIKA-chan were thinking in 1 dimension higher.
3.5D.
It seems the game with the witch has toughened you up quite a lot. Puzzles without specified rules, in other words, all things not covered by the red truth, are left to the observer's interpretation. It's the most basic of methods for constructing gaps in the witch's closed rooms.
What are you talking about? Is that a quote from some novel?
Well, let's call it that for now, shall we? Anyway, I guess this means that everyone's brains are as stiff as rock-hard cheese.
Dang. And you know who's got a hankering for cheese?
Me.
A rat.
Oh. Yeah, them too.
Without any signs of restraint, ERIKA looked at everyone and laughed sarcastically. Only Maria didn't notice the venom in that laugh as she happily turned to the next page.
Oh!
Oh boy.
Then on to the next problem. You have 3 cups and 6 coins. Split up the coins so that there's 1 coin in 1 cup, 2 coins in another cup, and 3 coins in the 3rd cup. Oh!
Okay.
Wait a sec, that's easy. Just stick 1 coin in the first cup, 2 in the next one, and 3 in the last one, and you're done. However, can you do the same thing with only 5 coins? Oh!
Yeah.
Here's another cliched problem. Don't tell me that you'll all need to waste several precious seconds on a problem like this.
By now, ERIKA was gazing around with an unpleasant look. acting in a manner that was completely inappropriate for both a guest and for someone of her age. Hey, you don't know how old she is. She was no longer a guest who would be staying until the storm passed. She had transformed into an annoying guest who wouldn't leave until the storm passed.
Yeah.
Everyone thought this, but they were unable to say it aloud.
Alright, fine. I'll distract her, guys. I'll take her with me. Oh. Right. Speaking of problems with coins, I've heard that picking up coins is a good way of judging someone's skill with chopsticks.
Dang! George has stepped on 2 landmines directly.
Chopsticks! Yes, chopsticks, that's right. Chopsticks are the most elegant utensil on the planet. Poking things and chopping them up with forks and knives is so barbaric. The chopsticks are the best. For me, using chopsticks is truly an art.
Jessica was about to say, "Aren't chopsticks just sticks?" but stopped herself just in time. She realized that it'd be best to let George take control or the brunt of it for now.
I have a coin here, so would you like to challenge me? I'm pretty good with chopsticks.
I kind of wanted to know how the coin one worked.
Too bad.
I'm sure it'll come up later. They wouldn't have showed that CG otherwise. They.
That's right. We trained George very well with those.
Indeed. Table manners are a window into one's upbringing, and ERIKA-san uses them quite well herself.
I'll lend you some coins too. It'll probably be more fun with more of them.
Jessica, watch closely and learn. Damn it!
Alright, let's go. Let's see who can move the most coins over to their plate.
Bring it on. Chopsticks, chopsticks. Ha ha.
She's crying. She loves chopsticks.
Yeah.
This time, George had steered the conversation into a good direction. Everyone else understood, and they helped egg on this chopstick fight and change the subject.
I get it. If we want ERIKA to understand love, just make the victim chopsticks.
They were fully aware by now that ERIKA was extremely proud of her intelligence. And apparently, she had the bad habit of using that to look down on other people. She spun her chopsticks around with the deft hand of a juggler, staring at the coins scattered on the table like a dog who had been told to stay after having a meal placed in front of it. The unsettling sound of the wind had now blended in with the sound of the rain, mimicking the howl of some monstrous beast. Just when it seemed to be crying out sadly, it would suddenly turn into a roar and rattle the window, striking up even more fear and unease within me. Me?
Me.
Light from the hallway poured in through the thin crack of the slightly open door, and it seemed to carry with it laughter that was warm and happy, but very distant. I'm sure everyone's in the dining hall or somewhere, having a good time. I want to go there as soon as I can. I'm sure my family will be there. Man from 19 years ago? Kenzo? I hate being all alone in a place like this. Or a mysterious third option. Dad. Mom. Oh, is it just Ange? I stubbornly tried again and again to get that door open, but the merciless chain just wouldn't let it open any further than that crack. Oh, we're here again. I see. Okay. We're back to this vague person that we're not sure exactly who it is. With the chain.
Yeah.
I postulated that it could have been Battler or Beatrice, and then it was implied that it was Ange when they turned over to her right after it, but also I'm not sure if it is Ange. On the contrary, feeling this close to a way out just made me more impatient.
Gulping and trying to ignore the fear lurking behind me, I quietly closed the door. That light coming out of the crack is just a trap. An iron shackle making it look like I'm an inch away from freedom, though that door will never actually open. A shackle trapping me in here for all eternity. I need to get out of this creepy room as soon as possible. When I closed the door, all that filled the room were the eerie sounds of wind and rain. The way the wind picked up every now and then shook the window frame felt like a monster in a cage shaking the bars. I was so scared of that monster, I couldn't help but avert my gaze from the window. Gotta search. If I can't get out the door, I need to find another way out. Just to the side of the door was a closet. There was only enough space inside to hang overcoats. Of course, it didn't connect to anywhere outside the room. If this were hide and seek, it'd probably be fun to hide in there. However, inside this creepy room, it'd be no better than stepping into my own coffin. If I go in there, maybe I'll find myself trapped in the closet next. This fear I didn't understand sent a massive shiver up my spine, and I closed the closet door in a hurry. There's one door left. When I opened it, there was the bath and the toilet. Of course, there was no exit. There weren't even any windows. If I turned the faucet, water would probably come out, then disappear down the drain and flow outside. But I couldn't get out that way. Unless I went into the bathtub with the stopper pulled out of the drain and smashed my flesh and bones to bits. I had the feeling that this was the only way out, so the black stopper in the bathtub drain looked extremely terrifying. I tried a lot of things, both mentally and physically, but there really was no chance of me getting out through the bathroom. Next is the window. Beyond the window is a pitch-black darkness. The fierce winds and rain are slamming against the glass. The darkness on the other side of the window may have been unsettling, but I didn't really care where I went, as long as it got me out of this room. However, the window was clamped shut. Right down the middle of the window, which was made to swing open like a set of double doors, were several ugly metal clamps. It was even more unnerving than the chain on the door, like a rough operation scar on some bizarre monster. The wind and rain slammed against the window frame, shaking it and making it creak loudly. However, unlike the door, this wouldn't open even a crack. I've had enough. Give it a rest already. What the hell's going on with this room? I've had enough of this creepy room. Enough, 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 enough! It's impossible to go outside except by the door and windows. And compared to that thick door, the window looks like it might be possible to break. I'll smash it. If I swing a chair at it, the glass will probably break. I might even be able to smash the wooden grid that runs through the latticed windows. All I need to do is make a gap large enough to slip out of. I grabbed a fancy-looking antique chair and headed back to the window. Smash it. Over and over. The glass smashed with a violent sound and the frame groaned and creaked. Smash it. Over and over. If I can just break through the wooden grid. Damn it. What the hell? Even though the glass had been smashed apart, even though the cold rain that blew in tormented me, I just couldn't get that grid to break. They weren't iron bars. It was just a slender wooden mesh. Even though it's fragile enough to make that creaking sound, why doesn't it break? No, wait. Maybe it's almost broken. What if I try attacking from a different angle instead of just smashing it head on? I stuck my left hand through the hole in the broken latticed window, grabbed the frame from the front with my hand, and tried to break it by shaking it around from both sides. My left hand started to grow ice cold from the frigid winds and rain. When I shook it, fragments of glass sticking out from the broken frame poked into me, and my wrist was soon stained with blood. But if I can just get out of here, this much pain is no big deal. But I can't get out. I'm stuck. It won't open. I can't break it. The more violently I shook the frame, the more the glass fragments tore into my left wrist, causing me intense pain. Wait. What's... Huh? Ow. Ow, 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 ow! Before I realized it, the glass fragments on the frame had extended outwards. It was as though an ugly beast was trying to chew my hand off with glass teeth. It didn't just feel as though they were growing outwards. They actually were getting longer before my very eyes. Ah, and they're chewing my hand to bits! I tried desperately to pull my hand out, but it had already dug deep into my wrist and I couldn't remove it. I put all my strength into it, but it just hurt more and more and the glass didn't even budge. What the hell? Damn it! Let go, let go, let go! I hit the glass with my right fist over and over, but that just hurt my right fist and did nothing to release my other hand. Just then, my left hand, which was still exposed to the rain outside, brushed against something slimy. What? It couldn't have been a leaf blown about by the winds or anything like that. I mean, it felt just like the touch of someone's rain-soaked hand. Then, it closed tightly around my left hand. When I felt the 5 fingers, I knew that some person out in the darkness was touching my left hand. And, yes, I know who it is. It's the witch. The terrifying witch who rules over Rokkenjima's night. The 2 hands soaked in the freezing rain gently caressed my left hand. However, though I could tell what was happening by touch, I couldn't see anything out there in the darkness. Then, it felt about my fingers and twisted my ring finger upwards. Ow, 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 ow. It's gonna break. Ah! At that moment, I saw something in the darkness for the first time. It was white. The darkness grinned and bared its white teeth. Then, that mouth filled with eerily white teeth approached my finger that had been twisted up so far it was about to break, and opened wide. It must have been laughing at me from the darkness. After all, that creepy mouth was twisting upward in a huge grin. I had a horrible idea of what it might be trying to do to my finger. A shiver ran up my spine. I resisted as much as I could, but the fangs of glass just wouldn't release my left hand. And then, it gently bit my finger. Flesh and bone were crushed and torn apart in an instant. I ain't trying.
Splat.
Did you hear something just now?
I think I heard it too. It sounded like a clunk.
It's probably just the wind hitting a window. This is a beat-up old mansion after all. Yeah, it is pretty creepy.
When I was a brat 6 years ago, I remember spending a lot of nights all scared that the witch was really walking around the mansion.
Oh, she exists! Beatrice exists!
What's at the other end of this hallway? There are guest rooms there, but they aren't being used now.
Yeah, after all, we have the guest house now. Until then, we would always stay in these guest rooms.
Sorry. Yeah, I remember too. When I saw the guest house today, I was surprised at how beautiful it was.
Well, that's because it was just built. I wish I could move my own room over there. Shannon, Erika-san's room's in the guest house too, right?
Yes, we've prepared a room for her in the guest house. And since the guest house is a good distance away from the mansion, no matter what kind of trouble happens, you can't hear what's going on in one from the other.
Are you still in detective mode?
Hey,
Sounds like you'll be all bummed when we all wake up tomorrow and manage to say good morning to each other.
True. At least one of us had better be gone by tomorrow morning. Right. Oh, allow me to guide you all to the guest house.
The adults were apparently about to begin a conversation that they didn't want the kids to hear.
I wonder what that could be.
The real family conference was about to start.
Oh, where's that at?
How do we get rid of ERIKA? No. As the kids and ERIKA followed Shannon on their way to the guest house, they passed through the entrance hall.
Looks like it's pouring down at its hardest right now.
Should we watch TV in the parlor until it dies down a bit?
Mama said to go back to the guest house. We have to go, or she'll get mad. Oh. I think we'll be able to relax a lot more over there. Better than getting to see and hear our parents get all pissed at us.
It looks like everything's falling into place.
ERIKA giggled, an openly indiscreet look on her face.
I'll go get some umbrellas for everyone. But please wait here. Oh, wait a second. It's been bugging me for a while. Who's the woman in that portrait?
Oh, that'd be me.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I already know that it's Beato's portrait. Still, we only just walked past it in the last game, which is no fun.
ERIKA whispered to herself, but of course no one heard her. I heard her.
If this is the Method Master's benefactor, Beatrice-sama.
They say she gave grandfather a vast quantity of gold, meaning that she's to thank for the Ushiromiya family's revival.
She's just a witch of grandfather's delusions. Supposedly her ghost walks the corridors of the mansion every night.
Hey, quit it. That story always freaked me out when I was little, and it made this mansion feel really terrifying at night.
Oh, right, that's true. What about now, 6 years later?
I think she's kinda hot. No,
Yeah, true.
I'd totally forgotten, but looking at this portrait head on, I can feel that old fear coming back a bit.
Oh, Beatrice isn't scary. At least, as long as you respect her. If you don't... Right, Shannon?
Yes. That rumor does exist among the servants as well. Rumors about servants patrolling at night, bumping into mysterious silhouettes. Or called butterflies.
Yeah, was it last year or the year before? Didn't one servant fall down some stairs and get so badly injured that they quit? Wasn't there a rumor that it was Beatrice's curse?
Jessica told it like a ghost story, trying to scare ERIKA, but ERIKA just laughed disdainfully. Come on, that's creepy. It was probably just an accident, right? Just a coincidence?
It happened just after grandfather had this portrait hung here. So it was probably the year before last. In fact, if I remember, this here is the staircase that servant fell down, right?
Yep. After all, this insanely huge portrait really stands out. Shortly after it was put up, everyone was talking about what it might be. And then, when the accident happened shortly afterwards, people started calling it Beatrice's curse.
So these ghost stories about Beatrice started after the portrait was put on display? No. The rumors about Beatrice Summer's ghost walking about were around even before that. However, I do think those stories grew in number after the portrait was put there.
Before then, even though they had heard about the witch, Beatrice, they didn't have an actual distinct picture in their heads of what she'd be like. I imagine that this portrait made that picture distinct for them, strengthening the rumors even more.
So, who started talking about this Beatrice witch in the first place?
Grandfather. He'd always start freaking out and yelling, "My beloved witch Beatrice!"
I'm gonna say, if you at home want to listen to that again, please run it back on the voice acting. It's hilarious because the Jessica VA actually does an impression of the Kinzo VA, and it's so funny. Anyway, that was all.
Though, until we saw that portrait, we had no idea what she looked like.
It's no surprise that you'd get one or two ghost stories with a creepy portrait like this hanging around. You always find ghost stories cropping up around things like a portrait of Beethoven in the music room or statue of the school founder.
True. It wouldn't be strange for a few ghost stories to arise. In an old, gloomy mansion with the sound of wind and rain present in the background for so long. Well, it's nothing more than a ghost story, a delusion, a fairy tale. Worth less than the useless drivel of a half-sleeping nitwit.
ERIKA looked up at the portrait and smiled at it hostilely. As though she felt that this smile was disrespectful to Beato, Maria's face soured.
Whoops.
Beatrice exists. If you say things like that, you'll definitely feel the curse of the witch.
Oh, how frightening. Please, curse me if you can, Beatrice.
So, if we find you mysteriously dead next morning, we'll know it's the curtain rising on a witch's murder case. But you're a detective, right? Wouldn't killing the detective off in the beginning be a bit too radical?
Ah, that would be troubling. That would get in the way of the crime scene inspection. I see. After all, even the Nox rules don't prohibit the detective being killed.
I have just what you need. It's a charm that'll protect you from Beatrice's curse.
A charm? You have a charm for something like that?
You don't?
After fishing around in her bag, Maria pulled out a string of beads attached to a medal that had a scorpion drawn on it. It looked like a cheap prize from an arcade or something, you don't say.
What are these?
Ooh, they're magic repelling charms. Their effect is very weak, but if you use them, you'll definitely be able to avoid Beatrice's curse all night long.
I've heard that spider webs are also useful for repelling magic.
Oh, that's probably because Beato is the incarnation of a butterfly.
Huh? Wasn't it the evil spirits of...
You got it.
Oh my god, I had it and then you talked!
Akujikishima? Akujikishima that were weak against that? Kumasama-san knows a lot about that sort of thing.
Witches and evil spirits. This is getting a bit interesting. Do you mind telling me about it in a bit more detail when we get to the guest house? Here are umbrellas for everyone. It's still raining very hard outside, so please take care.
Shannon handed out the umbrellas she had brought. Everyone headed towards the exit.
What was it? There was a Christie novel that got an adaptation recently in film form that was, what was it, like A Death in Venice or something like that? Or
I know.
It's
No, I
something-
know what you're
something
talking
like
about.
that.
Yeah, it was something to do with Venice.
That one is kind of similar to this in that it's based on a supernatural premise. It's like a ghost did it. Ooh. So, but now we have ERIKA on the case.
And then, when there were none left standing in front of the portrait, a gold butterfly appeared. It expanded out into a golden splash, becoming a human form.
Of which none can deflect it.
In the hall, empty now that the children had left, Beatrice stood alone and silent, looking up at her own portrait. Without a doubt, the figure depicted there was as like her as an image in a mirror. However, it felt as though its eyes and expression were just a little different from hers. From her perspective, while the person in this portrait was almost infinitely close to herself, it was just assuredly a different person entirely.
Who are you? Please tell me what kind of person you are.
Beato had already finished reading the fragments from Featherine's library, which showed the tales of all the games so far. Ugh. Sorry. However, the witch called Beatrice who had been depicted in them had been so vastly different from her. At the very end, it had looked as though that witch and Battler had connected just a little bit as rivals. But for the most part, Beatrice had just bullied and bullied Battler in nearly all of the tales. Even though this was about her, she had no idea why Beatrice had tormented Battler so much when she had supposedly been born for Battler's sake. All she had learned from Featherine's library was that the former Beato was a completely different person who defied understanding.
What happened to you? I am an egg of you. A chick. Your wings should have existed for father's sake. Just when did you have one of those torn off and end up so drastically different?
She had listened to the conversation Battler and the others had just been having. Beatrice can't handle scorpion charms? Beatrice can't deal with spider webs? She wouldn't have wanted to touch either of those by choice, but it wasn't as though anything terrible would happen if she did. Was being perfectly fine when around those proof that she wasn't Beatrice? Even though this involved her own self, she didn't understand at all. So she quietly gazed into her own eyes on the portrait. It felt as though the truth hid behind those eyes. Beato slowly approached the portrait, and then she lightly touched it. Welcome to the painted world of Ariamis.
True.
When she did, it felt as though the portrait rippled slightly. Yes. You're kidding me.
What?
This is a doorway. Oh, okay. I thought it meant legitimately.
No.
I thought it meant it was legitimately a
Metaphorically.
doorway and no one had ever tried to look behind it. A doorway to the long path that will lead her to the Golden Witch, Beatrice. Beato felt a bit dizzy. She lost her balance, feeling as though the world was twisting around her. Then, when she couldn't tell which way was up or down, she was swallowed downwards. Plunk. With a soft, watery sound, Beato was sucked into the portrait. Oh, actually, welcome to the painted world, bozo.
Mm-hmm. Which one though? DS1 or DS3?
I don't know.
Does she have the peculiar doll? Because without the peculiar doll, you can't go in there.
Yeah, you can't go in there without the... I mean, I guess technically you could call her the peculiar doll.
True. She is the peculiar doll.
The world inside the portrait was pitch black.
I straight up forget how you get into it in DS3, but another
In
conversation.
DS3, you go to the Cathedral of the Deep, and Gale is there, and he's just like,
You just talk
touch
to
it.
him?
Yeah, he's like, touch
Okay.
it, go in, and then you do.
I couldn't remember if there was a trigger to get him to let you in.
I think you have to beat.
You have
all
to be
the-
like the deacons or something.
I think you have to be. I don't remember. I thought it was you had to beat all the Lords of Cinder. Maybe.
I don't know.
Anyways, old
Yeah.
game. However, there was nothing unsettling about it. Maybe you have to beat all the well, no, you do have to beat all the Lords of Cinder to get to the Ring City, because the Ring City starts in the final area of the game. That's how you get to it. You get to the boss arena for Soul of Cinder and then turn around and go backwards. Anyways, sorry, Dark Souls tangent. It was a comfortable darkness, like when you put your head under covers in bed at night. Beato realized this was a world inside herself. So, despite the darkness, she felt a warm embrace. As long as she asked for nothing, this world would ask nothing of her.
No, there is no thing you need.
You just have to get there?
Yep, so you can do it pre any boss.
Dang, that's crazy.
Which means you can also do the Ring City pre any boss.
Yeah, wow.
Well, I mean, you have to get to there, which I think means you have to beat the,
You have to beat the Soul of
mage.
Cinder to get there.
No, not even
Soul
for
of
Ring
Cinder.
City.
The for Ring City, well, where you start the Ring City is you have to have beaten all of the Lords of Cinder so that you can get to that area, because you can't unlock that area until you've beaten them.
Unless you go through with the Painted World of Arianas. Or Ariandel in that case.
But can you get to that area through Ariandel?
Yeah. If you beat Frida, that you can warp to the Ring City.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I never knew that. Wow.
Yep.
Huh. Learned something new.
Indeed.
But she couldn't remain like this. She didn't want to spend eternity inside the darkness of this world.
Yes, I need to hatch out of my egg. This darkness is the shell surrounding the gold butterfly called Beatrice. I will be born for Father's sake. I will be born to live for Father's sake and to serve him.
She took her goal, her reason for being born, and put it into words. As if in response to those words, the seal on the shell began to melt away. Cracks appeared in the darkness, and a brilliant light enveloped the world. The sea of fragments.
Certainly seems like it.
We're back.
Look at all those lens flare effects. Oh.
And so, Beatrice was born.
Huh?
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
This is getting out of hand. This is... Now there are two of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming this is the chick that's speaking.
There I stood, along with another me. For a second, I thought that the me in front of me was the real Beatrice, the one I wanted to be more like. However, she was looking back at me with the same bewildered eyes, so I realized that wasn't quite it. That's right. I wasn't the only one born from that egg. She was also born. Is she my twin? No, it feels a bit different. How can I put it? Both of us are lacking something and immature. Yes, both of us are chicks, but we're also fragments of the true Beatrice.
She's been split into parts.
Mm-hmm.
It felt as though we could become the real Beatrice together.
We gotta get all of them together and do the fusion dance.
I got it.
No one explained this to us. However, we naturally understood. I decided to talk to this other me.
I'm gonna have so much fun.
Unless I get to know her and become one with her, I won't be able to become the Beatrice Father desires. In other words, the thing that Father wants from me, and was so heartbroken to find missing, must be something that she has.
Oh no. One of them's just gonna be like the horrible bully side of Beatrice.
Have you ever watched Teen Titans?
Yeah?
You remember the episode with Raven and her personality splitting?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Hello?
Uh-oh. The Beatrice with her hair down looked at... Oh, sorry, that's you still.
The Beatrice with her hair down looked at me dubiously several times, then finally spoke. Why is your face the same as my own?
I'm gonna...
The true Beatrice also spoke in that manner. It looks like she really does have something that I lack. Well, I don't know why either. I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. And you are? I am also Beatrice. I was born for the purpose of serving Ushiromya Battler. I am the Golden Witch and the ruler of Rokkenjima's Knight. I know of Ushiromya Battler, but I have trouble imagining why I should have to serve a brat like him. I have realized that the thought I'd had a second ago must have been true. Together, we really can become the true Beatrice. Though the person in front of me does have the part that makes her a witch, which I lack, she does not possess the mission to live for Ushiromya Battler's sake. She has what I do not, and I'm sure I have something that she does not. We must be two, and yet one single person. I think we're something like twins. No, that is not so.
The Elder.
Indeed. Which is funny because the wiki calls her Beato the Elder. But anyway.
You are my little sister. I have been here since long before you were born. Huh? Is that so? I was born later. So does that mean the mission to live for Ushiromya Battler's sake was born later on? However, I don't think my whole existence is something quite as faint and intangible as a mission. I have enough of a personality to think and act as I am doing now. So, the witch Beato and I are separate people, with both of us possessing something the other lacks. In that sense, maybe it's fitting for us to call ourselves sisters, as she says. I want to know about you. I also wish to know. I understand that you are also me. Why is it that you speak that way, and why must you serve Battler? Until we grow to understand this, it seems both of us will remain immature. I want to become a complete Beatrice. Until you were born, I was complete. However, now that you have appeared, I believe that accepting you is my fate. I also wish to know about you.
Okay, I'm gonna...
The witch Beato's tone was very slightly arrogant, which fitted her self-proclaimed status as the older sister. However, since we both realized that we were the same person, there was no need for her to be a bully. She probably realized that, after meeting me, her current form was no longer her real self. Where are we? Is this the hall of the mansion? Or...
Beato gasped. Her portrait wasn't there. Did that mean that this was at least 2 years in the past?
Precisely. This is the hall of the Ushiromya mansion. The night is my time, and the nighttime mansion is mine as well. That fool Kinzo is still so desperate to catch me or revive me. How truly ironic. Here I am, openly ruling the mansion every night. So, what do you do here? I have lost my body, and due to the effects of that hateful shrine, I have no magical energy. However, my power is reviving bit by bit, every day. I can't wait to eventually undergo a spectacular resurrection and have a good laugh at Kinzo. I can't wait to tell him that I've succeeded in escaping from his cage. Simply put, I'm a ghost killing time by wandering about night after night, with nothing to look forward to besides teaching that old man a lesson. May I join you? Of course. After all, you are part of me. How could the left hand refuse the company of the right? Why should I refuse? I shall be pleased to have you, my little sister, the new Beatrice. Thank you very much. One-sama. A somewhat embarrassing name, but it is not bad. Come, let us go. Let us take a walk through the nighttime mansion. Let me introduce you to my boring everyday life.
Bye.
The two Beatrices changed their forms into two gold butterflies, flitting silently into the depths of the shadowy mansion.
And that's the chapter.
Wow. Well, I didn't expect that.
Nope. Now we have Chick Beato and Beato the Elder.
Dang.
Now, I will say, though I think you and I both have time, we probably ought to call it for the day.
Okay.
We got a good 2 hours in or so. And you know, we're still in the setup phase. We're still in the setup phase.
Setup. We have not yet even gotten to any of the twilights.
Yeah. Let's leave the big ol' streams for when things are popping off. New Beato, though.
Yep. Beatrice, the elder sister, a mysterious witch who existed even before the rules. She has the same name as Beato, but she wasn't given the goal of devoting herself to Battler, the final version of the witch sealed away by Kinzo. She spends her days pulling small pranks and clearing away the magic-resisting toxin, all for the sake of her resurrection. She is similar to the evil spirits of Akujikishima in many ways, such as her fear of spider webs. She is the one who gave Shannon the golden butterfly brooch. Interesting. They included that little tidbit there at the end.
Indeed.
Alright, well. Even back then, Shannon was a little bit of a klutz.
It's true.
Well. Anything
I
else?
feel like that's about it. I don't know. It's just, you know, 8 pieces of cheese.
8 pieces of cheese, true. 1 slice. 8 pieces,
That's all
1
it takes.
slice. That's all it takes. Anything for the rest
Still
of the
think it
week?
could have been
though?
done in 0. Oh, let me think. Tomorrow there'll be a new Terranria video, which we're getting closer to the end of that. Tuesday, I gotta double check the vote on our channel if you want to see what game I'm gonna play next for my solo streams, but it looks like it's probably gonna be the TCG Card Shop Simulator. So stay tuned for that if you want to see me do that. Wednesday podcast, and then Thursday back to Umineko.
Yep. Alright. Well,
That's about it.
I'll see you all on Thursday then.
Yeah.
For our continuation of Umineko no Naku Koro ni Chiru, Dawn of the Golden Witch.